So you've probably heard by now that it was big news this week that it was confirmed in a shareholder meeting that GTA 6 still has a planned release date of later this year, fall 2025. That is definitely quite a big deal, especially since it has now been over a year since the trailer was dropped. I figured by now we would have gotten a pushback. I think it's very good news that we haven't gotten a pushback and that they are now saying that it is well on its way to releasing later this year. I think now we have a pretty good chance that, yeah, it could actually come out this year, believe it or not. I won't hold my breath though. But along with this shareholder meeting, probably intentionally, the CEO of Rockstar's parent company, Strauss, Zelnick, has kind of gone on, I guess, a little media tour, so to speak. Yeah, just in like the last 2 days, he's done interviews with IGN, a few other game journalist websites. Yeah, he's really just energetically been probably taking advantage of this sort of spike in attention with GTA 6 to kind of talk about it and just their games in general. And I just want to point out something, okay, something very important. Please look at this picture right now that I have of Strauss Zelnick, Mr. Boss Man himself. Okay, I want to ask you, how old do you think this man is? He's definitely a healthy guy. He's got a lot of energy in him to be doing all these interviews. This man is 67 years old. I really wanted to just highlight that here. I mean, is the secret to youth stealing cars in GTA? If so, I need to do more of that. But anyway, one of these interviews he did was with GamesIndustry.biz. Now, this was kind of an in-depth interview, and in the last part of it, they talk about AI. Now, I think this is very important, especially with what he says. I think this actually speaks a lot to GTA 6, and actually specifically the future of GTA 6. Because we all know that the lifespan of GTA 6 is probably going to be very big. GTA 5 right now is over 11 years old. I really would not be surprised in the slightest if GTA 6 is going to have just as long, maybe even longer of a lifespan. And obviously a lot changes in 11 years. What was GTA 5 at launch is now a completely different game, especially with the online portion. And I think Strauss's comments on AI actually could speak a lot on what we are going to get for the longevity of GTA 6. So, he was asked about the opinions that he has on AI, specifically if there are any quote-unquote guardrails that he sees fit for the conversation around AI, and how Take-Two and all of their companies views AI and specifically uses it for their games. Now, a lot of companies have kind of tiptoed around questions like this. Some companies have even backpedaled on previous comments where they once embraced AI due to some backlash from fans and gamers. But Strauss is definitely all in, so he refers to AI as an oxymoron. He says there is a quote, no such thing as artificial intelligence. Now that might sound kind of goofy. What he, I think, really means, as he explains further, is that yes, it does exist, but that it's always really been used, and that it's kind of just recently that it's kind of taken its own identity, or its own sort of specific style that has just really grown rapidly. And he's not wrong. AI in certain forms has obviously been used for, well, decades now, especially in video games. I mean, any video game character that's like an NPC that you're fighting in a game, I mean, as weird as that is in a sort of way AI. But going forward, he sees AI, even what it is today in 2025, as a net positive for them. He says, quote, I have no doubt that what is considered AI today will help make our business more efficient and help us do better work, but it won't reduce employment. Obviously, that is a lot of people's main concern with AI in the use of making video games, is that it's going to steal people's jobs, but he does not seem to think that way. And then he says something very interesting, in my opinion, something very, I would say, insightful, for better or for worse, however you view it. He says, to the contrary, the history of digital technology is that technology increases employment, increases productivity, increases GDP, and I think that is what is going to happen with AI. And then this is the really important part when considering Rockstar and GTA. He says, I think the video game business will probably be on the leading, if not bleeding, edge of using AI. Yeah, clearly he wants AI to not just be a part of their video game development going forward, but probably a main ingredient. And then in terms of the guardrails, he says basically no. Besides making sure their AI development programs do not steal other companies' IPs, or their LLMs, which is their large language model, he doesn't think any more guardrails or any, further cautions, further setbacks have to be implemented for AI. Yeah, essentially he feels that as long as it's not infringing on any copyrights, then it's pretty much a green light for AI. A lot of people are definitely not going to like to hear this, obviously coming from the CEO of the company that makes the world's biggest video game series, and what will likely be the biggest, fastest selling game of all time. But obviously Strauss really doesn't care, or at the very least, he knows that embracing this right now will be good for the long run. And the reason I really bring up GTA 6 is probably kind of obvious. Obviously Take-Two has other companies besides Rockstar under them, companies that make games like BioShock, Civ, The Outer Worlds, Mafia, Borderlands, and then even other Rockstar games like Red Dead games, LA Noire. But GTA is just the top series out of all of them. There is no question about that. And with GTA 6 and its probably inevitable longevity, I think the use of AI with GTA 6 Online, now with the comments from the CEO of Take-Two, is very much inevitable at this point. For better or for worse, I am very curious to see what this use of AI is going to look like in the long run for GTA 6 Online.